Thanks, Amelia. And thanks to me and so many other people who've been part of putting all of this together and being part of the larger chorus of 500,000 people. That's going to be difficult to follow, but I'll do my best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and peace, blessings, and goodness be upon all that who are here and who are watching us on Facebook Live as well. We're watching you as well, and you're with us in your local areas and the local marches that are going on all across the country today. In our Holy Quran, God reminds us of the beauty of saving one life. He says, if one person saves one life, it is as if they have saved all of humanity. That's in the 5th chapter of the Quran. And I personally take that quite literally. And when we think about gun violence prevention, we're talking about the potential of saving tens of thousands of lives every single year in this country. We know what works because we have so much data from around the world. We know what works because we've done things in the past that prevented people from being killed. We know what works because there's something within our hearts that tells us what is right and what is wrong that we are tapping into. Today, because of policy, we're here today gathered because our hearts are moved, because we want something better, because we know that something can be better, and it will be better. And this is the news that I want to bring you right now. We will win, and we will win together. There's no us and them. We as a collective society will all win, right? And that's the great thing. If we look at how things have played out in the past, we can consider how, for example, the tobacco lobby was defeated. No one thought it was possible. Nobody. You're crazy. Everyone smokes. There's no way that we're going to defeat the tobacco lobby. This last year, we marked the lowest rate of smoking among high schoolers, people in their 20s, people in their 40s. It's because we were able to mount a campaign that stemmed from our heart. And then it traveled to our head, and then it traveled to the rooms where policymakers make our laws. When we think about how the ozone layer was being depleted, people said, oh, there's nothing we can do. And in a very short period of time, we were able to tackle that problem, to pass policies, to prevent harmful chemicals in the products we were using to be implemented into the marketplace. And so too with gun violence prevention, I see it the same way. As Amelia mentioned, it's not going to take a few months. It may even take more than a few years, but we are starting. We are seeing the flicker of the flame. We are seeing progress being made. We are seeing incremental shifts in how people talk about this. What we're asking for is sensibility and nothing more than that. And we're getting closer to that. And when we continue day in and day out to go to our lawmakers' offices and put a human face and a human heart in front of a human face and a human heart, things happen. Magic happens in those rooms. People's hearts are turned. That's how things happen. That's how things change. It starts in the heart, it carries to the head, and then it goes to the pen. So we need to remember that today when we're marching from the heart. And hopefully that will continue to build energy, to build momentum, to bring it to the head, and to eventually bring it to the pen. And one last thing I want to mention is the power that we have is at the local level. Today, more than ever, the changes that are made in our country don't happen on Capitol Hill. Unfortunately, many things go backwards on Capitol Hill these days. But in state houses across the country, really great stuff is going on. And these states are used as experimental spaces for better policies that can be enacted at the national level. So if you're watching from home, know that what you're doing at the state level matters a lot. It matters a lot. And those single conversations you're having with your representatives and with your neighbors and with people in churches and mosques and synagogues and temples across the country, they matter too. So this day is a historic day. No single day have we seen so many people gathered on this issue. But this is a launch point for something greater. So when we go home tomorrow, and the next week, and the next month, and the next year, remember that this is a slow change, but we're moving in the right direction. And I think we have some momentum to make this issue similar to tobacco and to the ozone layer. So let's march out there today and continue in the years to come. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, now we're gonna get real. So we just heard from Amelia and we just heard from Colin exactly why we're here today. Now we're gonna actually see what we're gonna do tomorrow. And I don't know who else you're going to pick to do this fantastic role play, but we're gonna have who's gonna be the senator?
I can do the.
Okay, Senator Colin is gonna be meeting with at least one constituent from Montana. How's that? Amelia Keegan is a constituent. Do we have any other people who want to be a constituent here? We're going to actually do a role play right now for you all and say, so after today, what are you going to do? You're going to call, you're going to email, you're going to write, you're going to do a drop-by visit with your local staffer at a regional office, and you're actually going to make an appointment to either meet your member of Congress, either in the regional office or, hey, come back here to the Quaker Welcome Center. We got you. We're going to help train you so that you're going to not only march today, lobby tomorrow, but you're going to establish a long-standing relationship with your member of Congress, because that is what is going to change Congress. That's what's going to move the hearts and minds. So I'm going to turn it over right now to Amelia and to Colin. You guys are all going to have to speak up and share us in a couple of minutes like how we're going to take this conversation and make it real for our members of Congress.
All right. Should we just have like a
Yeah.
mock meeting here? So I'm Congressman Colin from Montana, and
Constituent Amelia, also from Montana.
all right. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Jane, or is it Amelia? Oh, sorry. I see so many people. But thank you for coming, and God bless you for taking time and
Well, thank you
coming.
for taking the time.
Yeah.
I know your schedule's very busy. There's a lot going on.
There's a couple things going on, but I got about 10 minutes maybe. Yeah, that okay with you?
Yeah, that's great. No, appreciate it. So, I'm a constituent from Montana, and just wanted to talk to you a little bit about gun violence, and just that one thing that I care deeply about, and that Congress just hasn't made any meaningful movement on some really, what I think, and most Americans see it as basic common sense measures like universal background checks, reinstating the assault weapons ban, and banning high capacity magazines, allowing for research on the impact of gun violence in our country. So I was wondering if that might be something that you might be able to support and talk to your colleagues in leadership in advancing.
Well, first, let me say that I'm really excited to see you in here. I understand you went to Marshall High School. Is that right?
That's correct.
You went to Marshall,
Yes.
Yeah. Well, my cousin went to Marshall.
Oh, yeah.
Go Spartans! You know, it's just great basketball team. This is important to me. This is very important to me. The amount of people that do lose their lives every year it's a tragedy. Mental illness is a serious problem in Montana and other places. And we really need to ensure that people who shouldn't have weapons don't have weapons. And the people that should do. You know, I'm considering legislation with some colleagues to introduce the ability for teachers nationwide to be able to take dangerous situations and turn them into less dangerous situations. I think the right people should have firearms in their hand, not the wrong people. So we're considering that legislation. When it comes to research, I think it's really important that when we're talking about data, that we're having different perspectives in the conversation. Sometimes, as you know, data can be used for whatever you want. So I think it's important that we have different kinds of research going on what works and what doesn't. And in terms of the ban, I think it could be a slippery slope here, Jane. Excuse me, Amelia. If we take away one kind of weapon, what's to say that we're not going to take away our ability as Montanans to hunt? I'm concerned about that. I know that people are saying that's not what's going on, but that could lead to that.
Well, Congressman, I can understand where you're coming from. I think, just to kind of respond a little bit to some of the points you made. First, I am a little bit troubled by, putting more guns in schools. I don't think the response to gun violence in schools is to put more guns in schools. I think that is a recipe for kind of more violence. And certainly teachers, many teachers have kind of come out and said that they themselves are uncomfortable. Their job is really to teach students and not to be kind of be carrying firearms. The second thing I think you kind of mentioned about research, I think you're right, there's a lot of ways to do research. But right now, we should at least be able to do some of it, right? And allow, fund the CDC, which is kind of a nonpartisan, kind of down the line kind of agency to be able to put out some information about what the consequences of gun violence to health in America. And I think, at least if we have some data that allows us to kind of figure out what's going on and how to respond to that. And then on the assault weapons ban, I can see how people would be, worried about a slippery slope. But the thing is, we had the assault weapons ban already in place until it lapsed, and we actually can see a measurable decline on mass shootings during the time in which it was instituted, and then after it lapsed, we saw that rise significantly again, and it fell from the time period. So there is a very specific law that we just need to reinstate that is very specific about the types of assault weapons that we're looking at. And these aren't hunting rifles; these are military-grade weapons that shouldn't. There is no reason why a 19-year-old or anyone else should necessarily be using that sort of weapon for any reason.
It's fun you should use it. I went to the range last week actually, but I hear your point.
Senator Christopher, you have only one more minute.
Okay,
I'm very sorry.
Thank you.
Amelia, excuse me.
Thank you, Pam. So, from my understanding, universities are already doing this research. So I think that's, we're going to get a diversity perspective from that. I don't think the government needs to be in the business of this. But in terms of this assault weapons ban, I would be interested in seeing this data. Can you send this to me?
Absolutely.
Is there any way we can follow up on that?
I would love to follow up with you,
Okay.
Congressman, and certainly, and I know that there
Continue the conversation.
there are many in my community who feel the same way as I do, and we'll be making sure as you're going around this summer in town halls, we'll be coming up and raising this with you as
Okay,
well.
well, hey, thanks again, Amelia, for dropping by. God bless. All right.
So I'm actually inviting Katie Breslin to close us out today. And she's going to spend just a couple minutes to tell us why right now it is so important that we are following this youth-led movement.
Thank you all so much for being here. And I've been on such a high this whole week. I feel like this is like Christmas for me. We had our spring walk weekend this week, and we have this incredible march that Harvard students are leading along with other young people across the country. And I think this is the time where young people, especially this Generation Z that's coming up and millennials are really taking charge and really saying that the world we seek, the world we're currently living in, is not the world that we're looking for. That we are looking for a world where people can go to school without being afraid to be gunned down. We want to see a world where people can walk through the streets without the fear of gun violence from police, from domestic partners. We're seeing this world where we look at things like race and gender and socioeconomic class, and we want to address those issues and make sure that we all are living in this world safely. And so I've been so empowered to watch all these interviews by the Parkland students, but I know that there are young adults in our network who are also doing this incredible work. And so I thank you all for coming here and for supporting our young people, for the young people in here, like, keep going, because Congress, the thing that when we go to Congress, when young people knock on Congress's door, what it shows to them is that they have 50 years that they have to deal with us. They have 50 years. They have us for a long time. And so they need to start listening to us now so that they know in 50 years when we're continuing to vote for them or not vote for them, when we're continuing to knock on their doors, that they have a bought-in network of people that are pushing for this world that we are looking for. And so thank you all for pushing forward to this world we seek, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you for being part of this. So thank you.